Hey everyone, welcome to Crime Chronicles. This is a podcast, but not just any podcast. You know that moment when you hear a story and go, what on earth is going on? What's wrong with people? That's exactly what this show is about. From true murder stories to strange historical events to haunted places, all the kinds of stories that make us question reality. This episode is brought to you by Productions, and it's a continuation of our series, The Truth Behind Disney. These are stories most of us grew up watching as cartoons, but the real versions are far darker. Some are based on true events, others come from ancient folklore, and nearly all of them were changed completely by Disney. Listener discretion advised. Some parts may be disturbing or unsuitable for kids. Now, let's get into today's story, The Truth Behind Disney, Pinocchio. Pinocchio, the animated film, was released by Disney in 1940. In the movie, there's an old man named Geppetto who longed for a son, so he carved a wooden puppet and named it Pinocchio. A fairy in a blue dress heard his wish and brought the puppet to life. Pinocchio, like Geppetto, dreamed of becoming a real boy. But he was still learning what it means to be good, and every time he lied, his nose grew longer. Throughout the film, he faces strange adventures, including an island where boys could do whatever they wanted, only to slowly turn into donkeys. Pinocchio escapes, learns that Geppetto was swallowed by a whale, and sacrifices himself to save him. The fairy rewards his bravery by turning him into a real boy. But that's Disney's version. The real story, written by Italian author Carlo Collodi in 1883, is completely different, darker, crueler, and meant to terrify children into behaving. Some even say Collodi hated children, and honestly, after hearing this story, you might believe it. The original tale. It all starts with a man named Maestro Cherry, who found a log of wood and tried to cut it. But the moment he did, he heard it cry out in a child's voice, "Please, don't hurt me." Startled, but determined, he kept sawing until the log suddenly laughed. Creeped out, Cherry gave the log to his friend Geppetto, who wanted to carve a puppet that could dance and travel with him. Geppetto named it Pinocchio and began carving. When he finished the eyes, they started to move and stare back at him. When he carved the nose, it wouldn't stop growing. No matter how much he cut it down, it kept extending endlessly. Then he carved the mouth, and Pinocchio began to mock him, laughing and kicking him in the face once his legs were done. Poor Geppetto realized his dream had turned into a nightmare. He regretted ever carving the puppet, saying to himself, "I deserve this. I should have thought twice before creating him." When he finally finished, Pinocchio ran away. Geppetto chased after him, but a policeman caught Pinocchio by his long wooden nose. Believing Geppetto might harm the puppet, the policeman arrested Geppetto instead, leaving Pinocchio free. Back home, Pinocchio met a talking cricket who scolded him, saying, "Children who don't listen to their parents will never find happiness." But instead of learning his lesson, Pinocchio threw a hammer at the cricket and killed him instantly. Yes, you heard that right. He killed the cricket. Later, hungry and alone, he tried to find food but was mocked by strangers. He ended up freezing by the fire and accidentally burned off his wooden feet. When Geppetto came home, he saw what happened, and despite being furious, he felt pity. He made Pinocchio new feet in exchange for a promise to go to school and behave. Geppetto even sold his only jacket to buy Pinocchio a school book. The Marionette Show and the Fire Eater. On his way to school, Pinocchio got distracted by a puppet show. The other puppets recognized him and called him to the stage, which angered the show's owner, a terrifying man called Fire Eater. He planned to burn Pinocchio alive for his fire, but the puppet cried and begged for mercy. Moved by his tears, fire eaters spared him and even gave him 5 gold coins to take home to his father. But on his way, Pinocchio met a fox and a cat, con artists who convinced him to bury his coins in the field of miracles to grow a money tree. When a blackbird warned him it was a trap, the cat immediately ate it, teaching Pinocchio that good advice can be silenced quickly. Then they attacked him, pretending to be bandits, and hung him from a tree by his neck. In the original version, that's where Pinocchio dies. He chokes slowly, thinking about all his bad decisions. That was supposed to be the ending, a grim moral lesson. But readers demanded a happier one, so Collodi continued the story, adding 15 more chapters. The Blue-Haired Fairy and the Ending. In the extended version, the blue-haired fairy finds Pinocchio hanging and sends a falcon to rescue him. Doctors say he'll recover, but he's reckless and selfish. She gives him medicine, and when he refuses, 4 black rabbits appear carrying a coffin. Terrified, he drinks it and lives. After many more encounters, betrayals, and painful lessons, he finally finds Geppetto alive inside a giant shark's belly. They escape together, rebuild their lives, and Pinocchio learns to work, study, and care for his father. One night, after showing true kindness and sacrifice, he wakes up to find himself transformed into a real boy. The wooden puppet version lies motionless nearby, its head turned, arm twisted, legs folded like a corpse. Pinocchio looks at it and says, "How silly I was when I was a puppet, and how happy I am to be real." That was today's story, the truth behind Disney, Pinocchio. If you found yourself thinking, "What's wrong with people?" then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have stories you'd like us to cover, leave them in the comments or send them to us directly. And remember, the full episode is now available on our YouTube channel, Crime Chronicles. See you in the next story.